Okay, so this is how I do this post-midboss laser section in LoLK stage 4. First I'll have like a little clip of like an example here. I'll just play it like on normal speed first and then slow it down and go over what is happening at each part of the section. Okay, so to start the section off, align yourself with the wall here with this little pink thing next to the bomb count. You want, or the way I do this at least, is looking so that the bottom of my hitbox, like the normal hitbox, not the shield, is aligned with the bottom of this pink part here. You can be like a little bit lower or maybe a little bit higher even, but this is like the good area to be in. And then you don't have to go as close to the yin-yangs as I do here. You can be quite far like in the laser cloud and not get hit, and it's completely fine. The reason I go so close is here is because you get more grays if you go closer to the yin-yang. The closer to the yin-yang, the more grays you get. This applies to basically all the waves. And also for this very first wave, you don't want to start shooting immediately, because if you do, you can kill the yin-yang before it finishes shooting all the lasers, which loses quite a bit of grays. So I start shooting like here, and then for the movements here, like all of these laser formations are aimed at you. As soon as they start firing, the entire thing is like locked in, and there will always be one laser that is aimed directly at you. So you want to sidestep all of these basically, and you can do like either up movements or diagonal movements or stuff like this. I like to kind of combine. So what I do here first, I do is an up tap, and then I just adjust my position slightly with a diagonal here just to make sure that I'm in like the correct spot to not get hit. Then when the first wave of lasers are done, run over to the yin-yang on the left. Again, you do not need to go as close as I do here, but I go close to get more grays. And then if you do not kill the yin-yangs, they will start moving towards you at one point, and then just move in that direction until they fly off the screen or until you kill them. And that means that here we will have one yin-yang moving to the right, so we want to move above that to dodge it so it doesn't ram into you, because Reisen at least cannot kill it before it would hit you. So here, move up. You can see I went above the yin-yang there, where you can kind of see it badly. But yeah, it dies at that point. So then you can move back down here if you want. It's not necessary at all, but I do a little bit of a down movement here. Or maybe I did it earlier. Yeah, a tiny little movement there. It's not necessary at all, but it makes one next part easier in my opinion. And then for the third wave here, it is better if you have the yin-yangs aim the lasers at you while you're still in this area rather than if you're like closer to them, because it makes the next dodge more lenient. So wait for them to aim at you, shoot their lasers while you're still there, and then move over. Then diagonal tap to dodge the lasers. And then there will be one yin-yang flying in from the left towards you, and we want to kill that so we don't lose score from the shotdown bonus and the items missed. So when you've gotten into this spot on the third wave, you want to unfocus so that your option on the left starts hitting this yin-yang earlier. Then kind of like duck under it and go over here. And then when you get here, you want to again unfocus to make sure that it dies. You can see here, unfocus, well it basically died anyway, but just to make sure that it always dies, you want to unfocus there again. And then the position that you're in at the third wave here is quite important if you want to do the no-hit strat, which is what I do here. So roughly like a 45-degree angle from the center of this yin-yang is where you want to be, like in the laser cloud. and the lower you are, the better. I'm in quite a good position here, roughly 45 degrees. At the very edge of the laser cloud, that's a fine place to be, because... oh, well, I wasn't really in the proper position there, but yeah, either way. That means that the laser shot by these next two yin-yangs will be in a good position, so that you can kind of hang around the bottom edge of this laser ring here without getting sniped by the lasers. Then, yes, this yin-yang will be flying in towards the right, but that will just die when it flies over you with no issues. But then this yin-yang here, the one spawning in, you want to unfocus to kill that as quickly as possible, so that you can rush over to the right here before the laser hitboxes activate and get into this safe spot or gap here that is only really there if you unfocus to kill that yin-yang fast enough. And the position of this gap depends on your relation to this yin-yang as it's firing the laser. So you want to kind of be either directly below it or slightly to the left of it. My position here is very good. Slightly to the left. You can't really go to the right of this yin-yang, because then your gap will basically be like too high up to even be viable. So yeah, kill that, go into your gap. The further left you are of this yin-yang over here, the more rotated, like clockwise, this gap will be. So if I'm more to the left, it will be more lower. If I'm closer to the middle of like where the yin-yang is, like directly under the yin-yang, then the gap will be higher. Then you can just hang around in this gap a little bit, it's good graze. And this yin-yang will be coming in from the right. You kind of want to be above that, so that you're kind of hitting it with the base shot while it still doesn't hit you. You can also unfocus here to kill it faster, but it doesn't really matter, it should always die. And usually you can just move straight to the right here after you've killed this yin-yang. If you're really low, well, you wouldn't even be really low because you need to move up because of the yin-yang, so just ignore that. Move directly to the right here. Doesn't really matter what position of in relation to the yin-yang you are here. Just go close to it, not too close because you don't want to hit it. Unfocus to kill it faster. Then when it dies, kind of move there. And then, as these lasers are dissipating, kind of want to go to the bottom right area of this laser circle, or this ring of lasers. Bottom right area there. So then when this yin-yang spawns, the final wave spawns, you want to be at like roughly this position. It's not that exact, I would say, but this is a good position to be in. So then for the final yin-yang, again, maybe don't shoot as early as possible, because then it doesn't shoot all of its lasers and you lose graze. After a little while, start shooting, then move to the right a little bit, and then diagonally up left. And then kill all of these yin-yangs for some very nice graze. 11k is what you could usually expect here if you're doing the no-hit strat, and with a moderate amount of greeding, I guess. Shouldn't really be that concerned about like greeding too hard, because it's more important to just try and survive. Getting hit on this loses a lot of graze. And then, do I have really anything else to say? Oh yeah, so for the fourth wave, or for the third wave rather, the reason we want to ideally be like not all the way up here, like way too high up, is because the higher you are on the third wave spot, the higher up you will have to be closer to the yin-yang here, because this laser would be higher. And that means that you have less precision over like what your relation is to the yin-yang. So if you're like really hugging it, and you want to do like a minor little tap adjustment to your position to make sure that you're not too far to the right or too far to the left or something like this, it's very easy to overshoot it way out, like way further than you would want. And then this gap is just non-existent over here. And then for the final wave, ideally you don't break here. It's pretty precise. You can't really do this well with one tap, hence like move right and then up left movement. And you don't want to, well, you can. I greed quite long here. I wait for like all of the lasers to even go away before I start killing all of these. But for safety purposes, it's perfectly fine to just leave this area earlier so you can make sure that you kill all of these yinyangs. Because, well, if you don't kill them, then you lose the shutdown percent and the items, which is not good. And it's okay to break a shield here. It's like, it really doesn't matter that much, at least in my opinion, it really doesn't matter. Shouldn't really matter for any kind of route, at least. And yeah, I started this example here at 3.81 power. That's roughly the power you would be at if you do a suicide on the arrowhead section before this, but if you're at 4 power then it's fine, it functions basically the same. Nothing really changes. You have 4 power at all of the sections where it matters anyway, even if you start it with 3.81 power. So yeah, I hope I didn't forget anything important here really. Yeah, I have a numpad that has like directly diagonal movement keys. I think they help a lot. It means that I do move my hand around of like my normal arrow keys and then to my numpad at certain parts to make sure that I can get that crisp, purely diagonal movement. It's not necessary, but I've at least found it very helpful.